Hi guys, welcome to another ACR Radio. This week we're talking to Col Skinner. Now, Col worked for an agency in the past. He decided to leave and set up his own, taking the best bits he thought of agency life into freelancing, into working for himself and as a startup. Now, what's really interesting about Col is while he was doing all this, he wanted a side hustle on his side hustle, which is Graft. It's a product-based website which is printed t-shirts and keyrings and other merchandise and stuff like that, which is really, really cool. So go check it out. We put the links in the show notes. Now, Col is very much, when you listen to his story, really interesting story, really interesting guy, but a lot of it is on his own terms, which is absolutely fantastic. When you're a freelancer, you sometimes fall into the trap of have to do it, have to take the work I can get. And Col has supported himself with a plan, not so much a plan B, but a side project to enhance what he's doing. He's worked out his productivity levels, when he's best, when he's worst. And when he wants to be creative, he can go and delve into product. And when he wants to be really hands-on with the more integrated side of paid media, which is what he focuses on now, he can get his hands dirty with that. So again, thanks to Col for taking the time to speak to us. Thanks for sharing his story. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so this week on the show we've got Col Skinner, who's a founder of Profoundry. Col has been agency side. He's worked with different agencies in the past and gone solo and things like that. And we've got him on the show today to talk about his journey, what he's learned, what his business does, what he specializes in and why, and all these kind of things. And straight off, we just want to say, again, Col, massive thank you for taking the time out to share your story and share your kind of insights into freelancing and consulting and starting your own business.
You're welcome. It's fine.
So for those who are not familiar with Profoundry or not familiar with your story, do you want to give us a bit of background on what you do and where you started from?
Sure. So 2014, I had done about 6 years in agency side and a client side role for a year, doing a mixture of sort of SEO and PPC and a bit of outreach as sort of things changed, and got to the point where I was managing a team, and started to realize that I didn't necessarily want to do things someone else's way. It all came about through starting a small business called Carved, that did laser engraved wooden business cards and iPhone skins and stuff. I started that whilst I had my full-time job, and that gave me a bit of a taste for control. And I realized that I was a bit of a control enthusiast, for want of a more positive term rather than control freak. And started to realize that the way the agency world worked, I was getting clients dumped on my desk day in, day out, who weren't necessarily suitable for the services that we were doing for them. And you just had to get results. That was the way, you had to upsell and all those other things. And I was just fed up of that. So after Christmas, Jan 2014, I came back in and had realized that I kind of wanted to quit my job. I'd actually, by pure coincidence, sold my half of Carved to my business partner, had a bit of money in the bank that could fund my personal bills for a bit. And the more I thought about it, the more I couldn't kind of stop thinking about it, in terms of I just kept on thinking about quitting. I couldn't even get back into my day-to-day. So actually, the same day I got back in, I walked into my boss's office and basically gave my notice in. And then after that came like a ghost, really. Like, all your responsibilities are pretty much taken off you, or taken off me. And I had a lot of sort of time to start thinking about what I wanted to do with the skills that I'd acquired, and who I know and all those sort of things. So I started to forge the sort of format of a consultancy business, where essentially I do insight, so sort of auditing and training, and then strategy, where it's obviously doing the strategic planning and stuff of digital marketing elements, with a focus on paid media advertising, and then the delivery of campaigns, so the setup, management, and reporting of paid media campaigns across Google search, Bing, display ads, remarketing, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube TrueView ads. So the more I kind of, I started that business in Jan 2014, or Feb 2014 when I finished my agency job. And from there, I just kind of moved with what made me happy in terms of service, what made my clients money. And from then I've kind of moved into much more of a focus of paid media advertising. I've kind of dropped all the training. I don't really do as much kind of auditing, although I do audit accounts, advertising accounts. And now it's much more the day-to-day management of campaigns across those platforms I just mentioned for clients.
So you mentioned the story of you starting is really impressive in that you just kind of took the plunge and said, I'm done with this agency. And you went in and told your boss that it was done that day. Was it when you started the agency and you were doing the audits and the trainer and all these kinds of things, was that something that at the start of your agency job you had focused on, or was it something that you'd kind of dabbled in and been interested in and then thought that's what I want to progress with? Was it, so did you stay when you started your business, was it a comfort zone that you went into, or was it something new?
It was a comfort zone to a degree. It was a decision based on what I had seen the SEO industry. Bear in mind that that's completely third-party controlled by Google. So obviously your organic rankings in search engines and how to game those. I'd seen that side of things fall in 2011, 2012 with big updates. And I've seen clients stop getting results in that area for hours and hours of work getting no results. So paid media for me seemed like the logical step to continue that route and not offer any SEO services, despite the fact that I had a few years behind me doing SEO as well as paid media. So it's a logical decision for me. I wanted to sit in meeting rooms and not feel like I'm conning someone, or not feel like I'm promising the world and I can't deliver. Not that I can guarantee anything with digital marketing, because it's all a bit of an assumption and a test and whatever else. But I wanted to sit with clients and feel like I could offer them quite instantaneous results and quite controlled. If I'm a control freak, I want to be able to control my results as much as possible. And search engine optimization just didn't sit well with me. So I never offered it as a service. I moved straight into paid media. And that was a comfort zone thing, a logic thing, something I felt like there wasn't many people doing it as consultants rather than agencies. Surprisingly few people. To be honest, that's grown more since, bear in mind we're talking sort of 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, it's just kind of something I felt confident selling. I didn't see the point in having sat in boardrooms being kicked under the table by salespeople to upsell whatever it is, call tracking or remarketing or infographics, whatever it was. I wanted to feel comfortable in what I was doing, and part of that meant, selling something that I felt comfortable getting results for.
Yeah. So you talked a lot about being uncomfortable in the agency world towards the end. What kind of steered that day? Was there one point where you can think that was the point where I said I'm done and I'm not going to kind of like abide by anyone else's agenda or something like that? And where you mentioned before, you're getting kicked under the table and you're trying to sell services that your agency might not offer all the time or might not be as competent in as you're pitching. Was there a moment where you're like, I'm done now, this is it? Okay. Or was it like a progression of things where you are sitting in meeting after meeting and you're just like, this is not what I want, this is not where I want to be?
It was a mixture of both. I think that morning I probably came right back in after a holiday to find, I don't know, I think like a salesperson had promised a certain level of results for a client that was completely unrealistic. That would probably be one, but then it was an amalgamation of everything, like months and months of sitting in meetings, having to bullshit clients about whatever, and starting to do like sell disavows. So obviously, if you've done loads of backlinks for SEO benefit and created lots of backlinks, some of them were starting to damage clients' rankings in that agency. And we started selling the service where we remove links. which just felt ridiculous, and it felt like we had lost a lot of control over wash services. And as I said, starting my own business whilst working for an agency made me realize what's involved and how much I enjoy everything being on me and not having necessarily a massive team below me to tell what to do and all that sort of side of things. Yeah. There's a lot of sort of Chinese whispers. By the time the client gets their words over to the account manager and they get their words to you, having just been, I don't know, selling cars a few years before, and now they're selling digital marketing, it's just inevitable that there's going to be screw ups and there's going to be a high turnover of clients and a high staff turnover and all those things that started to really get to me after a lot of years in agency side, and realizing that the solution wasn't moving jobs. I'd moved jobs at least every year to 18 months. So I'd worked for three agencies and one client side role at that time, and realized that wasn't the solution. It had to be something else. I'd earned a lot of money. I'd earned, more than my goal amount kind of had been at that time, and that didn't make me happy. So it was this kind of realization that I haven't tried self-employment and I can try it and then come back if it fails. It's not this kind of, like moving to Australia thing. People think you're gone forever. You can get a flight back. It's the same concept. It's, if it doesn't work, you go back into full-time work because I've got the skills to do so. So it didn't seem a no-brainer, really.
So then when you mentioned before you've moved around agencies a little bit and you've tried new things and different things and all stuff like that, and it sounds like you're quite open to try and not necessarily going with the grain, and like you've started this side business while you've been in the agency and stuff like that. Is it fair to say then that freelancing or going solo was always a goal, or did it come about as a other option to what to do next? Because you've wrote for plenty of freelance publications now, e-consultancy, Freelancer Heroes, Freelancer Summer. There's so many when we go doing our homework and going through your profile and stuff. So it seems like it's always been there as something that you enjoy, something that you could potentially go into.
No, I'd never done any freelancing before I went solo, and freelancing had never been a thought of mine, or going solo in that regard, doing digital marketing. I think originally I felt that a business like Carved would be the out of digital marketing, as in I would leave digital marketing to start a business that doesn't do digital marketing, but very quickly realized that I have a certain set of skills that I've learned over a number of years that can pay the bills and give me if I can achieve a lifestyle business, which I know is an overused term now, but the definition for me is working to live, not living to work, i.e. you're making enough money to pay personal bills and work bills and have time spare to do your passion. If I can achieve that, then maybe I can start another business like Carved. I can do something creative. And when I realized that, I've got the skills. I've worked in agencies, and that's the key for me, is agencies put you in front of loads of different businesses in every single industry and size. They get you communicating with clients directly or indirectly. They get you working on projects directly or indirectly, managing teams and managing people and all those other things. And I felt like, whatever solo life is going to throw at me, why can't I handle it? So yeah, it was never a goal to go freelance from the start. It just came about through circumstance, really.
It's interesting how so many people we've interviewed for the show and who tell their story, like it's a kind of an organic evolution, if that makes sense. Not a lot of people have forced their journey. I think, like you said before, you have this set of skills and you're going to use this set of skills. It's interesting that when you first thought about leaving, that you wanted to do something completely different and you weren't really interested in what you're doing now as a freelance option or as a solo option kind of thing. Is that what has spawned your consultancy